Hello and welcome. This is Rooflemonger and my friends. I am here to tell you about the greatest Street Fighter 6 tournament yet held to date. No, I'm not talking about EVO. No, I'm not talking about Big Zangief win by Snake Eyes and Capcom Pro Tour. Good stuff though, by the way. I am here to tell you about Honda's horrible Hootenanny. And what exactly is Honda's horrible Hootenanny? Well, it's an online Honda-only tournament. Simple as that. The most iconic character of Street Fighter 6, I think we'll all agree, in his own tournament, because only Honda can have his own tournament. No one else really fits the bill. So this was the brainchild of one Ember Talks, and I have all their info and also links to the actual full tournament itself in the video description if you want to check that out. But let's talk about the rule set, because Honda's horrible Hootenanny, it's a lot more than you think it is. So let's have a gander at the rule set here. Already we can tell we have some elite level sponsors for the tournament and the payouts as well. So let's look at the rules here. E-Honda only, it is Honda's horrible Hootenanny after all. No connection tests. Every region in the world, because Honda is taking Sumo worldwide. VPN and Wi-Fi is encouraged. Lag switching is encouraged. Low-end hardware is also encouraged. First to one only, no losers bracket. You are allowed to bargain, as in you can talk to your opponent and, you know, just work things out between yourselves. Ain't nobody else has to know. Whatever the decision, let the TO know at the end. Naturally, cheating is allowed. We can't determine the best Honda player without that very core fact. And, well, winner takes all. End of story, that's how it's gotta be. So now that you know the core rules of the tournament, hey, Honda versus Honda, right? That's the key of Honda's horrible Hootenanny. But, being, you know, there's some very unique rules that the Capcom Pro Tour is too scared to implement, in my opinion, things can change up. Let me take you to the first streamed match of the tournament. So, our first match here, wait a second, Honda versus Ryu? I thought this was a Honda-only tournament. Well, to the untrained eye, that is Ryu, but to the eye that has training, that is simply Skinny Honda. And since Skinny Honda is obviously E-Honda in the end, that means Skinny Honda is allowed to be a playable character. The rules are very easy to understand, so there you go. Now here, you're assuming your eyes are deceiving you in that you're seeing JP, and that would be very unfair, because JP has a really good matchup against Honda, right? Especially not the least a master level JP player, but that's not JP, that's simply old Honda. And old Honda, you know, in his age, has learned a lot of new tricks. He's advanced Sumo to its limit, and he's learned Psycho Sumo powers. So therefore, within the confines of the rule set, 100% legal, don't worry about it. Although it does turn out, old Honda is actually a really good character. Now here you're seeing Marissa, and wait a second, there's no logical explanation for this, and of course, you're right, how could there be? But one thing about this tournament is cheating is allowed, and the players simply bribed the TO to play Marissa in the tournament, because cheating is allowed and the TO had their price. That is the essence of Honda's horrible Hootenanny. Some other matches, well, Sumo is a sport that is not limited in terms of battleground. It can happen anywhere. As mentioned in the rule set, players, they're allowed to collude with each other before their match happens. And if they collude to, say, play out their match in Pokemon Showdown instead of Street Fighter 6 within the tournament, that is 100% legal and the results are binding. And turns out quite a few Honda versus Honda matches were played in Pokemon Showdown. So now that you're understanding how deadly a tournament this is, let's take you through one player's journey. So here is the story of Joe Kirby, who made 17th, a respectable placement in the end. And in channeling the power of E-Honda, they didn't even play a single match of Street Fighter 6 to get that placement. In round 1, with collusion with their opponent, they decided to play out the match in Connect 4. Now in Connect 4, Joe Kirby actually lost. But being Honda's horrible Hootenanny, they decided, you know what, I'm going to report myself as the winner anyways. And well, there you go, win goes through. So even though they lost Connect 4, they're still the winner of the Street Fighter 6 match, and that is the Dark Art of Sumo. Round 2, Joe Kirby's opponent wanted to play Street Fighter 6 properly, Honda versus Honda, and that's kinda not what they were aiming for, so they stalled, disconnected, and then lied on the sheet and said they won instead. Now, keep in mind, you might be thinking, well, that's dishonorable. Once again, all I have to say is, you know, in the rules, cheating is allowed. They cheated better, so they won. Round 3, we're back to playing Connect 4, and one thing leads to another, and turns out Kirby takes the win. Finally felled by being forced to play Pokemon Showdown, and the old stall and misreport strategy unfortunately did not work out this time around, so Kirby only made 17th in the tournament. And making 17th in a tournament that's all about playing Street Fighter 6 and playing E-Honda in mirror matches without ever playing E-Honda or playing Street Fighter 6, I think is a great representation of how this tournament works and the spirit of it. Whether it's Honda on the battlefields of Street Fighter 6 or Rayquaza in Pokemon Showdown, the Spirit of Sumo shines brightly. In the Spirit of community, there was also prizes for bad controllers and bad setups, because, you know, Honda players are sometimes, unfortunately and incorrectly criticized as being a bit more lowbrow, but for once, you know, let's play into it. And yes, this controller is functional, by the way. Barely functional, but the crayons do actually work. That's some ingenuity there. As for other setups, you can see people, they're pretty creative about it, showing that their tournament experience is definitely on the level. Others showing how dedicated they are to the Spirit of Sumo itself. Some people even got very, very creative with their Hootenanny setup here, like this gentleman who figured out how to play E-Honda on a Dance Dance Revolution pad. And actually had things kind of figured out, able to do a lot of the buttons here. If you hit a bunch of the back buttons at the same time, you could even do stuff like supers. Like, legitimately, this is some creativity. So how does this all turn out in the end? Well, this is a sneak preview at a grand finals, and as you can tell, copious use of lag switching. About every 2 seconds, the game will freeze up, but not enough to force a disconnection, and, well, have fun with that. And once again, all perfectly legal. And also, very interesting, or perhaps distressing, depending on what you believe on the matter, but every time the game pauses because of the lag switch, Honda's like jiggle physics for his muscles and his gut and stuff still fire off. And that's very interesting to see in such a very isolated way. And basically this tournament was everything it needed to be. It was meant to be a big, silly, you know, just oddity fest, and it pulled it off. And only Honda really could make that a thing. Honda, despite obviously not being one of the better characters in the game, and you can argue as time goes on, only getting worse and worse, is still basically maybe the overall most reviled character in the game, which is incredibly unearned in my opinion, especially because there's so many characters that are like actual threats, but people get hit by headbutt and cry, and that's really all there is to it. But this absolute trash fire of a tournament, and I mean that in the best and most loving way, especially as one of the top donators of the prize pool, right? But this absolute trash fire of a tournament was perfect. You know what? The clean, pristine esports scene, that's all well and good, and I'm here for it and I support it, but sometimes you need something a little stupid. And Honda's horrible Hootenanny is exactly what the doctor ordered. So hopefully the description of the tournament gave you a smile, gave you a laugh. Once again, if you want to check out the VOD, I'll have the link for you in the video description. Unfortunately, a lot of the best moments of the tournament, because of the nature of the tournament, that you can bribe TOs, you can collude with your opponent to do anything you want in between like your actual matches, all that kind of stuff. A lot of the best moments just can't be streamed. You'll have to check Twitter for stories and all that kind of stuff. But yeah, it was a really fun event, and I'm glad it happened. Here's hoping, say, come Season 2 of Street Fighter 6, whenever that happens and Honda gets buffs and becomes a better character, we can have a Honda's horrible Hootenanny too. But for now, my friends, that is the story of this legendary tournament that will go down for the ages, I'm sure. And otherwise, we're at the end of the video. So thank you very much for watching. Hope this video has found you well, and go out and play some Street Fighter.
This is the love making.